Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are in the world, good day. My name is Kim Schofield, and I am your host today for Inspiration Tuesdays. Thank you so much for joining us for our third episode of Inspiration Tuesdays, which is a program that focuses on the importance of inspiration to survive and thrive. And we feature guests from around the world that are an inspiration to their industries, colleagues, and communities. Now today, be prepared to be truly, truly inspired. I am joined today by Brigadier General Anne Macdonald, U.S. Army retired and president of the U.S. Army Women's Foundation. And today we are going to talk about the role of inspiration in breaking down barriers and creating opportunities for women in the military and in industry. And welcome to Inspiration Tuesdays.
Thank you so much, Kim. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for asking me.
You have such an amazing and impressive background. What would you like our viewers to know about you?
Well, a little bit about me that I think is important is that I started off as an Army brat, and I am second generation military. My grandfather served, as well as my father, having served in the military and was in World War II, in the Korean War, and also in Vietnam. I served 31 years in the military as an Army Aviator, having an opportunity to lead and grow teams. And then post-military, post-retirement, I continued to work where I've coached and facilitated leadership. And as you mentioned, I'm presently the president of the United States Army Women's Foundation.
So after your 4 years at West Point, then you went on to become a senior Army Aviator, UH-60 Black Hawk pilot, and a paratrooper, and air assault qualified. And you served 4 years in the 101st Airborne Division. Now, these were all military occupational specialties, MOS, that are usually assigned to men only. But the first thing I want to really know, Anne, is what in the world inspired you to jump out of a perfectly good airplane?
Well, first off, I do want to say that maybe once upon a time they were typically all male, but the first women went through flight school and graduated flight school in 1974. So, 6 years before I went through. But I tell you, it's that challenge. It's that, that sense of adventure. Oh my gosh, how fun is this? But, there were things along the way. So if I were going to say at West Point in my plebe year, or maybe it was my second year, we had a chance to be introduced to all the different military occupational specialties. And the helicopter unit came down from 10th Mountain Division, gave us an opportunity to fly around in the back of a UH-1. Well, what a thrill was that? I mean, first off, people weren't yelling at you, but what a thrill was that to see West Point from a different perspective. And it was totally beautiful, and the wind and, wind coming through. And if that doesn't inspire one to actually be able to experience that, I don't know what does. But I think it's that challenge. And at the time, actually, the Be All You Can Be didn't come into effect until after I graduated. But when I look back on that, it was such a great slogan that I am able to grow and develop in areas that I never even thought were possible for women, let alone for me. And so I love that adventure. I like the challenge. I like, and I try to do that, not just at West Point, but throughout my life, to have that growth mindset of, oh, yay, great. I don't know how to do this, but I'd like to figure it out. I don't know how to jump out of an aircraft, but I'd like to have the experience. I've never air assaulted out of or rappelled out of an aircraft. I want to do that. So I think having that growth mindset, that adventurous spirit is what drove me to do some fun things. And those were absolutely fun things.
Now, you have also been in 2 combat tours. And a serious question, have you ever been scared for your life, Anne?
Yes. And I have to say, scared for my life occurred outside of combat.
Oh, wow.
Experience. Sometimes, there are moments flying an aircraft where inexperience on my part led me to believe that we were in trouble when we were not. And I remember a particular experience, and I was very concerned, and actually the pilot in command at the time was just almost laughing at me, but it's going to be okay type thing. But my takeaway from that, what I thought was a near miss experience, was a greater appreciation for the aircraft and what it can do, a greater appreciation for my having to hit the books and to study a little bit more and to understand, truly master my craft as being an Army aviator. Now, back to being in combat. Absolutely. We've just recently celebrated the 30th year of the ground war for Desert Shield, Desert Storm. And I remember, actually the air war, and I remember when the planes were flying overhead. We were all brought together by the battalion commander, and he had said to us, we're going to get ready to cross the berm. And he likened it to playing football. And he said, I want you to get motivated and to steel yourself for this, but don't start expending that energy until we get ready to get into the fight. And I just remember that being such a important confidence builder from our leader who was setting the tone. But at the same time, I realized the gravity of what we were getting ready to do. Now, fortunately, the Air Force did their job. The ground forces who were in front of us did their job. And it turned out that the many losses that we were anticipating during Desert Storm did not occur. But before we knew that, there is certainly an anticipation, but confidence of knowing we have the right equipment. We have been trained properly. We trust each other, and we are ready to do this.
Can you comment a little bit about leadership under adversity? Because I am sure there are times when, as you describe, especially in the military, that you have to motivate and inspire and lead others to do their jobs that could potentially get them killed. And when you yourself are in grave danger, how does that work?
Confidence in the people you are leading and trust in those leaders, that they are ready, they know what to do, and that they will be successful. Part of that comes from put yourself in their shoes. And I would say to that, what did it feel like for me when I had experienced adversity, and what did that leader do or not do? And so try to, and each situation is very specific. There's no one answer. You have to look at what's the adversity, what is the risk, what is the people's skill level at this point, and you have to make that assessment. But I make that assessment based on when I was in that situation, what did I need? I needed to know what was the mission, what were the left and right limits. You trust me, you value me as a member of this team. And those are the conditions. You got to be sure that folks know what is it that they're expected to do and that you have confidence in them.
Is there anything else that you would like to say that I did not ask you?
I think one thing is in being a leader, and I sort of touched on a little bit, you put yourself in somebody else's shoes, but that aspect of you don't know what's going on in someone's life, and being empathetic and being sympathetic is really important. And part of that stems from, when you start off, particularly in the military, but being able to be a good follower And from being a good follower, it presents you such an interesting vantage point where you can see things from, okay, I like this. This feels right. I'm going to do this when I'm in a leadership role. Or being able to assess, that wasn't done right. So sometimes you get that vantage point of seeing, well, this, what to do and what not to do. But I think that being a good follower is so important. And to ask the questions, what is the direction we're going in? I am not clear with this. It's important. You have somebody who's in a leadership role, appointed or otherwise, earned otherwise, he or she deserves your loyalty. Now, if it comes to the point where something immoral, unethical, illegal takes place, that's a different circumstance, and that's a different avenue altogether. But just being a good follower. And then another thing that I don't know if I stressed enough was understanding who you are as a person and knowing what your limitations are. And knowing, how can you lead others if you can't lead yourself? I mean, that's the most important thing when you start off, is being the best you can be. And that's why having that personal board of directors, having people that you can go to and ask questions, being able to go to different resources and question, and constantly making those, as I call them, course corrections. But being able to look at yourself from time to time and say, is everything in my house in order?
Very good. Well, Anne, if somebody wanted to contact you or reach out to you, what is the best way for them to do that?
I would say through the United States Army Women's Foundation. And we have a website, www.awfdn.org, and you can contact me there. And I would love to hear from you.
Fantastic. Anne, you are such a remarkable woman and one of the most accomplished, humble, and inspirational women I've ever met. You are a true pioneer, not just for women, but for anyone. And your success is such an inspiration to us all.
Thank you for your very kind words. I have truly been blessed, and I'm grateful every day for the experiences I've had. I'm grateful for the life that I have and the life that I'm living.
Thank you very much, Anne, for your insights. It was truly a pleasure. For our audience, you will be able to find this video and all of the other episodes of Inspiration Tuesdays on YouTube at Chief Inspiration Officer Kim Schofield. Our next episode will feature Shelley Brunswick, Chief Operating Officer of Space Foundation, and it will air on March the 2nd. This is Kim Schofield. Thank you again for joining us. Stay safe, be well, and go forth and inspire.